Hi, welcome to Lynn's Recipes. Today I'm going to make flatbread with rosemary and olive oil. This is really good to use to dip into olive oil with spices and to serve with a dinner. The amounts of the ingredients that you're going to need to make this bread will be listed in the information box below, or you can find it on the website. The ingredients are: you're going to need all-purpose flour, you're going to need yeast, and this is rapid rise yeast. You're going to need warm water, sugar, salt, olive oil that you've divided, cornmeal, fresh rosemary chopped fine, and you're going to need some coarse sea salt, and this is fleur de sel. You're also going to need 2 of these 7 by 11 pans that you've oiled with some olive oil and that they have a rim on them. I'm making this dough in my food processor, and I've already put my flour in, and now I'm going to add the yeast and the sugar and the salt. And I'm just going to put the top on here, and we're going to pulse this just to blend. And now I'm going to add my olive oil. And I'm just going to turn this on dough, and we're going to start pouring the water in. Now you'll need about a cup and a half to, or a cup and a quarter to a cup and a half, just until it comes to a ball. Okay, that's it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on a lightly floured surface, and we're going to knead it. I've put my dough out on my lightly floured surface here, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit more flour on the top. And now I'm going to knead this for 1 to 2 minutes, just until it's all smooth. I've been kneading my bread or my dough for about 1 to 2 minutes, and now it's nice and smooth, and I've made it into a ball. And so now what I'm going to do is put it in this bowl, and I have greased this bowl with olive oil, and I'm just going to kind of turn it around like this, just so the dough has some olive oil and it won't stick. And then we're going to take some plastic wrap, and I'm going to cover it just like that, and I like to set mine down into the bowl, not just over the top. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this in a warm place. I'm going to let it double in size, and it'll take about an hour to an hour and a half, and then we'll proceed with the next step. My dough for my flatbread has doubled in bulk, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle some flour on my counter here. I'm going to turn this out. I'm going to press it down to deflate it and press it flat. Now I'm rolling it into a cylinder. I'm going to cut it in half. I'm shaping it into a ball, adding a little bit more flour to the counter. Okay, I'm just going to form both of these into a ball. Make sure there's flour on the bottom so that it doesn't stick. And I'm just going to lightly sprinkle flour on the top. And I'm going to cover this with a kitchen towel for about 10 minutes, and then we'll go on with the next step. At this point, you're going to want to preheat your oven to 450 degrees. Now my bread's been sitting here under the kitchen towel for 10 minutes, and that's what it looks like. It's been resting. So I'm going to prepare my pans to cook the bread in. And I have put olive oil on the bottom of these pans, and now I'm going to take the cornmeal and I'm just going to sprinkle it on the bottom. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to take one of my pieces of dough and put it into the pan. I'm going to start stretching it until it fills the whole bottom of the pan. Okay, this is stretched out to fill the pan. And now I'm going to go ahead and do my other one. Okay, both of the pieces of dough are stretched out into the pans. So now what I'm going to do is I have dampened my cloth, my kitchen cloth, and I'm going to cover them and let them rise for 15 minutes before we bake. My bread's been rising for 15 minutes and now I'm ready to move on. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our fingers and we're just going to make some little indentions in the flatbread. Like that. And then I'm going to take the other olive oil and we're just going to kind of drizzle it on top. If you want, you can kind of spread it with your fingers to even it out a little bit. And then I'm going to take my chopped rosemary and just sprinkle on top. And now I'm going to take my salt and sprinkle on top of the rosemary and the olive oil. Okay, so now these are ready to go in our preheated 450-degree oven for 15 to 18 minutes or until they're golden brown. My bread cooked for 15 minutes. I've just taken it out of the oven and now I'm ready to serve it. Okay, so I'm just going to go down like that and like this in thirds. And then I'm going to cut it down the center. And if you wanted to, you could make some kind of olive oil dipping sauce with spices, garlic, whatever, and dip this in it. So I'm going to put some on a plate and show you. This is flatbread with rosemary and olive oil. I hope you enjoy it.